Okay, so it's 2:40. You know what I keep thinking is like, because right where this is where I got my head split open. Um, it was just right before I moved up here. So it's got a scar and the hair won't grow back right there. It's still sore too. It's so crazy how stuff will stay so sore. But anyways, it started doing this weird split right there where my head was split open. And so it always has this white piece sticking out, which, I always think it's kind of strange. But when I was just looking at the clock thing, and I was like, I wonder when this turns all the way back to natural color, if the split's gonna bother me as much, because the whole time it's had this big white streak right at the split. Like, look, here's a split. So once it gets, I wonder if it's gonna be so, it will be less noticeable, I think, but I don't know. I don't know how you can fix stuff like that. One thing I still also with my hair is, I take the biotin, but I feel like even though my hair is healthier and stuff like that, I still feel like there is like new hair growing in, just like how there's this new growth and stuff. So I think it is still good. Like I feel like no matter what my hair is like right here and stuff now, like I feel like it's gonna fill in more. So even if it's this little split or something, it seems like, this is gonna fill in more. So that's hair talk for this morning. I'll talk to you later. um, there is some other weird shit besides my hair. Stella's right here. I'm in this totally awkward position. Things feel so weird. I feel so weird. I can't even tell you. I feel like the split in reality is so real. Like, if you don't have a grip on not feeling reality and just being out here free agent, then because it feels weird. It feels like you don't really have anything to attach to. Oh, that is because all these different things are what people attach to. It's what holds them in the sense of grounding them to the reality. It's what they hold on, the parts in the, when we consider it a game, they hold on to these parts, and that's what gives them a sense of reality. That's why their reality becomes what they hold on to. And it is so trippy is watching this all play out with this divine feminine energy, because we know, well, some of us know, that the changing of the ages, this going into this new age, it is going to be of feminine. It's going to be the divine feminine. Like where this has been the patriarch, we're going into a matriarch society. And that is how a lot of other older tribes and stuff were built, on a more matriarch society. And I think right now we're seeing it purged out. Like these women are losing their minds, not stopping and thinking. They're being so emotionally assaultive to other women. There's so many other women now who are bald, because don't forget what happened with the slap, because that was the introduction of, they're about to make everybody bald. And I could see it coming. I knew what was coming, because she was all about her just wearing her baldness, Miss Power, Jada, and then, oh, he makes fun of her, so, oh, Will's gonna come to the rescue. Will just wants to go and bend somebody over. He just wants to be bent over, really. He doesn't even want to be the powerhouse. He just wants to be, come on, take control. And supposedly, she's kind of a bitch. Like, the stuff that comes out with their relationship is just so strange. Like, I don't think that he would be the one up there like, oh, I'll getcha. I think she'd be the one. She probably hires people to do them in. But whatever, they've always got these weird rituals or weird shit, and they're always promoting and pushing shit. And they make, like, actors or something. It's like in their contract, like, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's weird shit like that, They have to be willing to promote whatever's, because their acting isn't, they get these roles, but their acting is to the world, it's to the society, it's to, to sell us. It's just like on Truman Show, how all the characters, how his wife is constantly selling something. That's what they become, is the background player that are selling, but they're selling us a storyline. They're selling us a distraction. They're selling us a convenience, an idea, whatever it is. So they become absorbed in this act, and they lose themselves, where they go in to want to be admired for having talent, and it turns into this them being used and controlled. But see, those are the challenges in the game. Those are where you're in these parts of you that come in, but this part that's going to try and take from you, and you have to and it's not like you mess up when you don't, because you all our learning comes from looking back. So your life review is so much about your learning. So I just feel like people get so stuck on, like, they should have known this sooner. They should have learned that. Well, why didn't they wake up in another life? Why didn't they learn it then? Why didn't they become, because that's not what's supposed to happen. That, well, you were supposed to go through these different lives. You were supposed to have those experiences because it broadens your horizons. It makes you a brighter light. It makes you bigger and smarter, and it advances you. So so everything is as it should be. But so the okay, so on the feminine thing, I don't know if I'm skipping around, but so the women, like, so right now we have these women who are freaking out, and they're being so assaultive to these other women. So Jada came on pushing about baldness, and she was this new person about this new magic medicine thing that helps you. I don't know what it is that it put, because she didn't all of a sudden grow hair back, does she? So I don't even know what the fuck. That's how absurd some of this shit is. Which, by the way, I just heard a girl talking about her grandma was high security clearance, whatever, in the government for a long time, and the stuff that she would tell them and stuff that she's been dead now for a long time. Her NDA, and she and the granddaughter never signed one, so she was going to tell some of the stuff that her grandma would say. And one of the things that she said was that in 2012, 2013, that is when the veil was lifted. So when the Mayans said that that was going to be the end of time, that was when the end of that time. That's when we were going to start opening and questioning reality, and reality was going to start falling apart. And they built this false reality, like there was a world outside of the Truman Show. But Truman was trapped in this world that was created for him. And then they have the parameter, the people playing the parts to keep us in line. But so he was trapped inside this reality, inside of a different reality. But it becomes your reality, and then it becomes, who are you in that reality? And so those are like what we're playing out all the time for the soul, is to see who you are in these different situations. And even when it brings out the worst in you, there's always this going backwards. It's always this linking of, how you become the way you are. You aren't just the things that you think you are. You're like a ball of energy trying to figure out like how to balance it all. And so it's not like you're bad because you got fire in you, and but the light helps you to be able to find balance between the light and the dark. So it's you, up to you, and there's not somebody over you, and there's not somebody who can take responsibility for you. And that is, like Sonic couldn't have Knuckles, can't take responsibility for what Sonic does. Sonic can't take responsibility for what Knuckles does. It's like we're each individual energies, individual spirits that are responsible for our own actions. And that's the way that the universe works. That's how it works. Like, if your energy is going, this energy over there that's not doing anything about that is not going to take responsibility. And when you direct the energy, so when you go into a collective as a missile of negative energy, and then there's an aftermath of all of that effect that you create, that is your karma. That is where you have affected these people in this way, that will come back on you. And that's why I say, like, when it's somebody and they are affecting lots and lots of people in a negative way, that energy comes back on them. And so in the way the energy is changing right now, what we would have considered as to not be negative before, like Mama Tot putting on a character. we would, I mean, so many people were just like, I mean, that was just kind of our world. Like, I just, it's funny because I was just thinking this morning about, let me think, how was it? People, because so many people that you think they're here to be famous, and they just, they've got to make it. If they can make it, everything's going to be okay. And so they get very focused on that and, put all their energy towards that. And I was thinking, how many of them ever have gone into meditation and ask, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Are they just trying to force something? And how much simpler their life would be if they would spend time talking to their soul and quit trying to force this idea of success and trying to make this certain thing happen. Because like I just saw a musician and he was doing some video, he's just trying to make it, he's poor, he's homeless and all that stuff. And it's, like the street musician, it's kind of like you got to build up or something. You got to pull the energy into you. But it is, and that could be going in your direction. So it could be like that you're very much, your passion is music and you really want to do music, but they fed you an idea. In order to be a successful musician, you have to do check A, B, C. And so you keep going in that direction when really all you have to do is build up local people around you who love to listen to your music, who support you, who get excited to come out and dance or sing along or listen and vibe or whatever it is that you build up, like your clientele. And then you become famous to that group. You're the everything in that group. You're the sun in that orbit. And so people keep, and it's not like, oh, well, you can't have too big of dreams or something. The thing is the way people are being so misdirected. And there's just way too many people. It's way out of balance. And these people are not going in. There's not all of this energy coming from the universe. Oh, go be famous, go be famous. Everybody go be famous. It's like, it's just, you can see it's a part of the programming and it's absurd. But so there was, people who would admire, Mama Todd. Oh God, she could come up with a character and become famous, and she did it, and she's making money, and she has a mansion and all that stuff. And so it's a part of this like shallow energy. It's a part of this like where it was okay in that other reality, but in the new one, it's not going to be like that. People are going to be authentic. People are going to be real. The people priorities are going to be changing. What mattered before is not going to matter the same. And I'm seeing it happen, like, oh yeah, because I want to finish about that bald thing, because the energy is changing. And so the people who were famous for whatever about things, that's why there's all this falling for like all these Hollywood people, is because it was like paper dolls blowing over now in the wind. There was no substance to them, and they were used. And so they've got to go through their process, of, everybody's having lessons. Everybody's going through shit. There's not anybody's just like, oh, well, they're rich and famous. They don't have any problems. It's just not the way it is. And so, okay, back on the bald thing. Okay, so she was pushing on that. So I knew that because when they came out with this big dramatic thing that had everybody talking about her and her bald damn head, I was like, okay, they're about to hit something where everybody's hair is going to start falling out. And it was within a couple of months, I think, everybody's hair started falling out. And so I started thinking, well, what is it? And I was thinking it has to be something with the frequency or something with our phones, the radiation, especially when it develops like this, whatever, that male pattern baldness or whatever. It's like radiation pattern baldness. So is what it starts like, I don't know, burning our hair off or something. As a lot of people start losing their hair going like that. And so I was like, it's it's kind of very directed to what. So what are we looking at all the time? What is always looking at us? And so that's where I was like, I think it has something to do with the radiation. And like I said, I'm sure that they've turned something up because I used to be able to hold my, but maybe it's my body changing, but my phone, I can feel the electricity. I can feel the thing and it tingles in my hands and stuff. So it's uncomfortable. Like I can feel it hitting onto my face. So it feels like tingles and it makes my nose itch. Oh, my nose just runs and runs. Oh, which, by the way, within a couple hours of my son-in-law being here, him and his dog are both sneezing and coughing. So I'm done. There's something for sure. And then it's really cool is, so we decided to work in the back. Once he was looking at that, he was like, yeah, this is bad. So he's ripping all of the floor out and he's going to fix the floor, but he thinks that we can leave the bathtub. So that's good news. We don't have to do, as I was, yeah, I thought I'm going to have to rip the whole fucking bathroom apart. So I do want to get that new hot water tank because that one is as old as the house. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, I guess, because when people come, when other people come, like I can do my shower just fine, but so many times people say you run out of hot water. And so, I mean, it's okay for my shower, but, you know, I don't know. Everybody's got their own. And it depends on how much hot water you use, I'm sure, too. So, anyways, when he was doing all that, and he couldn't get out under the house, he said it's like, ugh. So once he pulls up the floor, then we're going to kind of be open. We're not going to have a toilet and stuff. So he's going to be, we're going to the store today. And so I don't know if he's going to start on it today or we'll start on it in the morning or something. I guess we'll see how it goes. But he's going to get all of that stuff pulled out, all that rotten stuff. And so that's a whole bunch more moldy, wet, wood, so that could, if there's a lot of wet mold, and he said he should be able to see though if there's more leaks going, so he's gonna try and look and see if there's some leak under there, because the water company keeps telling me I have a leak, and I keep thinking it's the leak at the hose because I can't get it turned off all the way. So I don't know, but he's gonna go and look. I know that all these pipes are shit, and I know that this house was built for a vacation home, and that this weather that whatever that they're doing is not, the house isn't equipped for all this water, the pipes for all these temperatures and stuff. So, you know, it wasn't built for extreme weather, that's for sure. So anyways, so I knew that they were going to be pushing something on this baldness thing. And then I started seeing so many videos, so many people, because it was kind of at first, when people's hair was falling out, they started becoming really more embarrassed and stuff. And maybe they probably is when a lot of people start putting on wigs and stuff. I don't know. Getting more people getting extensions and stuff, which that just tears your hair up. Just watch how the actors, by the time when they take out their extensions, they've got to put their hair, like, loses 10 inches or something. And if you just leave your hair growing all that time, it'll grow. But they do all this shit and it damages the fuck out of their hair. But that's the fake, you know, the fake lifestyle just does damage to the organic being. So but I was seeing all these videos of people talking about their hair, and then there was so many people that their hair thinning, it falling out, and then there became the big wave of all of these products and stuff. So in the natural thing, because there was like all the rosemary, cloves, all this stuff, and everybody started talking about their hair was falling out. Their hair had lost half their hair, just huge amounts. So everybody got real focused on trying to find shampoos and stuff that were better for your hair. And so there was tons of that, like that wave that's sent out is like the universe, like this is how it's going, like where the deep states, they would do their typical thing. Well, it doesn't work the same way because the energy's changed, because when the veil came off, it started making some of us see things, and we started seeing things different. And then it's the 100th monkey. As soon as one person does it, it just spreads through our energy. So everybody starts doing it. Everybody starts seeing. And the people who are resistant, who by appearances seem to be resistant, I say they are just playing out this extreme role, especially this purging of this dark, dark, dark energy out of the feminine energy. because it is so dark. So they're offending all of these girls because there's all these women who have had to shave their head because of their treatments, and then there's a whole ton of women who got severe alopecia and have lost all their hair, or they have to shave it because there's just patches of crazy hair and stuff. And so they've been working on for years of trying to feel good about themselves and pretty and feel like that they're not ugly now because they don't have any hair. So that's a process to go through. And then this movement that just comes in and just kicks their ass. So you got those women crying, and then they're being, they don't want to be associated with anything with this group. And so I don't know, it's very like the group is showing all of these sides of like female characterisms, so it's showing this selfishness, showing this, a lot of this stuff, so it's all coming to the surface, and then each of us registers it and processes it, so you use what you need for your own growth. But some stuff you've learned in other lives, and so but some people are learning different things, and some people are purging out energies, and some people, it's like going full circle, so there's just a lot of stuff going on. And so it's a very complex game, if you want to consider it that way. It's a very complex, it's not just like a this or that. All these souls are all got their own shit going. And so so we don't want to go into just judgment on these ladies that just seem wacky, because it is like that wackiness is inside of all of us. They're just expressing it very much out. We've just more gained control. But I mean, I know for myself, if I'm honest with myself, I was fucking whacked out like this at some points in my life, for sure. I'm just glad that I'm not in that anymore. I'm glad that I've grown beyond that, which is a kind of a funny thing, because like my one daughter who hasn't spoken to me since all this stuff began, since, I don't know, mid-2020, she, what's trippy is like the person who she holds on to, the person who she is, not looking at in the mirror, but looking at in the mirror of her mind, the person that she holds on to is the mom that was there when she was 13 years old. It's like that lady's grown up. She's not the same person. But you hold on to that. It's like that, and that's multiple levels too. Like the person holding on to it, you got to go through your process, but you got to go through your process. You can't just sit there holding back in time and just stuck and stagnant. What good is that doing? How is that processing you? How is that moving you forward? And so it just is trippy, because that is so often the people who hold on to resentment, anger, and stuff, they hold on to a past version of you, a past storyline or something. And most of us, when we go through situations and stuff, we learn from the things. And even if it takes us a lot of times, the thing that they hold on to, we've learned to be a better person. So it's, we're all in this together, and we're all learning together. But the other people, they don't want to think about, and it almost, as a parent, I know a lot of parents understand this, is it's like you become the scapegoat for everything wrong with your child. So everything that they think is wrong with them, it's your fault. It's your fault, and they wouldn't have this problem if you would have been a better person. And so that is kind of this self-indulgent of hate on themselves. It's like very much like they hate themselves, but they got to make it your fault. And so that's a part of the process of your development that you got to go through. You got to work through it. And that's where you got to start taking responsibility for yourself and work out of this victim thing. When you're honest with yourself and you start seeing like the mistakes that you think you made, that those are your choices. And, and everything about life is about our choices and our consequences. So when we make our choices, they're there for us for our lessons. So that is kind of like giving it away in this entanglement when you start not taking responsibility for it and being like, well, it's my dad's fault. I wouldn't have been this way if it weren't for him. So then it's like you are trying to make somebody else responsible, Stella, trying to make somebody else responsible for your choices, and it's just like an impossible feat. It doesn't work that way. And so it's like an energy that it's like you have this energy. Yeah, it's kind of like I'm seeing like that kind of, what is that ball thing? There's some ball games, and you just keep hitting it off the wall. I think there's even one called wall ball, but there's some different kinds of games. Some of them, you play against a different player. But anyways, it's that kind of thing that's just, you keep taking this energy and just hitting against the wall. It keeps coming back, keeps coming back. So you got to go past it. You can't keep playing the same games and expecting something to change. You have to do things different. You have to look at things different. You have to look for signs that you didn't look for before. Think of things outside of the box. Look at it in different ways. And the more ability that you have to look at things from more ways, the more it's going to make you feel better, safer, where people are in fear and stuff like that. It has so much to do with ignorance. Everything is so small. The bigger that you can get it, then the more that you are not so trapped in this little fear bubble. So you add in more and more perspective, and I don't know, there develops a logic. And then plus, to me, there's always this natural thing to me of understanding that this isn't real and that you don't die. Like there's this, you are really a soul, and this is your experience. It's not like you are this weird amoeba or whatever, birthed, or that you just came out of the ground and you just start doing things and you're trying to become something so you can go and live in the heavens. It's not like that. That's weird. It's, you live in the heavens and you come here for vacation time or something. You come here to develop yourself. You come here to go through experiences. Well, there's a lot of different things because like there's different beings and stuff here. And oh yeah, and she said, the person who was talking about her grandma, she said that the people are, there's tons of hybrids here. There's tons of aliens, and it's all a bunch of DNA and alien DNA and stuff. And I'm telling you, I really think like whatever tribe, I don't know, like when you go way back, you can't just say, well, all the people in Saudi Arabia are from Syria or something like that. But far back, wherever to their tribe, that group, there's certain groups that to me, they are like come from somewhere else. And I definitely, when I've seen the Saudi Arabian people, or like the Saudi Arabian prince, and I don't know if some of these people, but other people in the crowd and stuff, they were like giant. They were so huge, the people. They were, and it wasn't just like tall people. It was just like this just really big people, where it's like these descendants of the Nephilim. And then they keep this thing like where we don't all know this stuff. Just like that guy going to Norway and stuff. I didn't know all those people were huge. Like I thought that, I mean, I knew of Vikings were supposed to be really, really big. And that is where I would think like the Vikings, they probably were some kind of tribe that came from somewhere else. And they went down there and then they started living there. And then they started seeing like, hey, we're bigger and stronger than everybody. We don't have to work so hard. We'll just go take their shit. And so there was all that kind of stuff. But that is where this place began. I mean, when a group of aliens comes and lands here and then they're like, well, we don't want to work so hard. Go over there and get those monkeys or chimps or something. I think they were primates that they went off of, because it's been like implanted in the apes and stuff. So I think it was like a primate kind of being or something that was here enjoying its life. And they're like, yeah, well, we'll make those things work. Look at them. They're just jumping all over the place, hopping around. They do fine here. So then, taking them into the lab and then start tweaking them and then not even being happy with the first one. That sucks. Do it again. So it's, I mean, it's pretty ballsy. Like, think about it. Like, it's like we think like now, oh, it's a godless society. It's like, it's a fucking, this is just, it's like, it's not about, it's not about just being God. It's not about just being the light. yeah, because what I see is, you know, the thing that they use as a swastika thing, that thing, it really originates as like it's something about that's like the movement of the yin and the yang. It's like the spin of things, and that's what it represents, is like, I think, like the union of the yin and the yang. It's the creation of balance. It's about, you know, not to just focus on the light and the dark, but to become a balanced version of the light and the dark, which they've done so many things to get people out of their balance. And see, this is what I was talking about with the universe, is like, so that certain energy, like Mama Tots and, you know, people like that becoming famous, then and that was all fine and dandy for the current reality, but then the realities change, and it's like, can you change with it? And when you can't, it's like, well, why can't I? And that's where you got to try and see, like, what's holding me back? What am I anchored? What's holding me? What are the chains that are holding me? And that's when you start seeing programming, attitude, anger, a lot of things. And that's where you got to start going, like, fuck. So, but this is where the universe changes the energy. The universe is changing the energy. So what worked before won't work. So see, then they come and they do these certain things, but it's not working anymore. It's not working because there's like the wall moved. They keep throwing it, trying to play their game on this wall that used to be there, but all of a sudden the wall moved, and so they're not making the distance. And it's like the universe is going to keep moving the wall. The standards, the priorities are going to keep shifting. It's going to keep going up, 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 up. So yeah, if you're shallow, you're phony, you're fake, it's going to just keep falling apart. It's going to turn more and more people off. More and more people are going to be turning in another direction. Which, by the way, Crystal, on those on those texts and stuff, I feel like, because, you know, it's not people, the MAGA people aren't getting this stuff, which they've got to, of course, try and twist it to make it's the MAGA sending it out. Like, no, it's not. But how, you know, seems to be a list of like people that it's going to scare. It's people who are programmed in this way to think like we are in serious trouble. And so I think it's like a list. I think it's like they have like probably a room full of hackers. They give them a list. Go send threatening messages to these people all day. And then in the news, when they sway it, it's like, you know, these radicals and all of that stuff, where it keeps feeding these people's fear and stuff, when the logical, rational thing is this is more of their terrorism on the people, more of the creation of division, more of trying to create fear and division. And they got these people so scared and so bent, but these people's reaction, see, is so negative. It's so, because now you have these girls crying because now you're shaving your head. Because this one girl was just saying, you know, over the past year after she lost her hair, so for the past year she spent it all trying to learn to love herself and feel attractive. And then she heard about the 4B movement, and so she's like, oh yeah, well, so what's up with that? And then so that had got her attention, but she then saw them all in there shaving their head off, shaving their hairs off. And it's, oh, some of them are these big dramas, because these are all these girls who are all like, they're healers and stuff. They grew their hair out, like they went to have this certain, because this is the new look, it's the new trend. And I had said for a long time, some of these people with this spirituality, it's just their trend. It's just like, yeah, well, this is my style, you know. I've got all these crystals, I got all those, and it's like, you know, spirituality is not style. Spirituality is a way of life. It's a way of looking at, you know, life. It's a way of trying to be in touch with your spirit and see life through your spiritual lens rather than your three-dimensional physical lens, because that one is the one that can be tricked. And oh yeah, because that was the thing too. I just seen with the programming in school. and the attention deficit and stuff. Oh, because that was another thing. So there's a lot of us that didn't get programmed so much because of our attention deficit and stuff, our inability to pay attention in class. Mine, like when the teacher would start talking, I would just astral project. It wasn't even like I had control. I just left the room and I had no, I can just easily go into that state of mind. And I thought something was wrong with me. You know, when I was doing all the tests where they were trying to test our smartness, when they were really trying to test our awareness and our ability to have telepathy or communicate. So when they were doing that, you know, and I was, because my guides always told me, don't do the test, just fill in the dots, don't do it. And even at some point, a couple years in, where I was like, man, I keep, like, I should do the test. I mean, I'm really looking pretty, you know, I think they all think I'm retarded now. And because you'd have to go in and have the teacher talk to your parents and stuff. And I think they thought I was really slow. Like, that was my feedback throughout most of my time in my life. So, at some point when I was like, oh, I should really do it. I'm going to try. I can do it. I'll do it. And I started trying to read it, but it would just go all fuzzy. I couldn't understand it. It was like it would go fuzzy in my brain and I'd be like, what the fuck, man? So it's like, okay, just fill in the dots. So anyways, they were looking, they've always been looking for certain people, but that ability to be able to shut out the programming in mine was I just left. And I didn't know, like, I was doing it at the time, but I had just seen a thing about that and why it is why they want all these attention deficit kids on this stuff to get them to focus, because it's a necessity in the programming. And so that, you know, it doesn't really have anything to do with, like, they want their kids to be able to learn, and, you know, it interferes with the programming. And that's probably one of the reasons why I have, can see through so much of this shit, is because I didn't have the same kind of programming. They couldn't get me in there. And then they think, oh, well, she's too retarded. It won't matter much. Just ignore her. But then there's an energy chasing you around through life that keeps trying to, like, do you in, and it keeps not working. And that's where I learned also, you can't die before your time. So there's a lot of things I learned through living it, not because I'm, you know, read a Dolores Cannon book and decided I was an expert and wanted to tell everybody. No, I learned about this stuff way back. I was learning about reincarnation back in the early 80s when Shirley MacLaine's books were coming out, when Celestine Prophecy came out. That's when I started doing spirituality. That was a long time ago. So I've been living my life through this lens. It's like walking the walk. I'm not just talking the talk. I'm telling you how I exist, how I look at things. And people are just have been so pulled, they're lured, their vision is lured into this, you know, this journey, this success journey of, like, be famous. That's the only way to make it in this world, is be a millionaire and stuff like that, which I find so absurd, because to me, all of the different things have such great validity. Living in lack is an important, virtuous part of the soul's journey, and learning to live without, not indulging and needing all these things to find happiness or joy. And so it is an important part of the soul's journey. So when there's people who are living in lack and poverty, they should be admired and stuff. Like, you're doing a good job. Like, and I know you're learning some shit, man, because you learn so much resilience. There's parts of you that you would never learn about if you didn't go through some of these things. They would just be blank. So you got to go through these things to initiate these sides of yourself, to become aware, or to open up, or to become alive. It's like creating a new facet, a new angle to you, a new side to yourself, a new part of you. So you need these challenges in order to develop as the soul. So, and then to, you know, run people down. But those are the lessons in that, is to not let people run you down, and to know, like, see your own value. See, like, and I think it's an important thing for people who don't have money, who live in poverty and stuff, to be able to look at the people who have it and see how they live with like no gratitude. Like people who don't have it much, when they get something, they're like, fuck. The gratitude, the joy that they feel, these people have lost that. It's like, well, give me more. Well, that wasn't enough. I'm like, fuck this. And I just noticed that so much, man. One of my trips when I came back from Mexico when my kids were little, and you go to Mexico and the people are just so happy and cheerful. And they're always over there trying to sell you stuff, but they're always like joking around and happy and stuff. And then you go drive out and you see like how they live. And it's like, you know, a lot of people would no way live like that. And then they gather their shit up and go in to try and be friendly to the colonizers, the tourists. They come and try and be friendly to the people to get some kind of money to go get the things they need. And it was just so much about the people were also happy. It was just such a like joyful time. It wasn't like they were mad at the world. Fuck this, fuck God. It was just like, this is life, man. This is life. Yeah, this is a good time. Yeah. Later, you know, we're sitting on the sun. We're in the beach. We're having a good time. So it's a lot more of an attitude. And then I got back. I was like, as soon as you got into American Airport, it was right back to the, oh, fuck you, you died. And all these people just running and and I was like, oh my God. The people who have everything just have nothing left to give. It's like, having everything just sucks the life out of you or something. It's like you lose your gratitude, you lose your joy. You just need more, more, more. You need to, it's like living off of that drug. It's like living off of that charge of get something. And I know there's a charge. I was a shopaholic. So yeah. And I still can find myself like it's exciting to get something, like to find something. It's like it gives you a little like charge. But you got to get control of it. Like we got such a consumer society that's so out of control, like living off dopamine and fighting the cortisol the whole way. You know, it's no way to live. And there's a way to find balance and to find peace. And part of it is acceptance, but not acceptance like, oh, well, my life sucks, so I'm just going to sit here and fall apart and suck with it. Not like that. It's more of, you know, I'm here doing this and, you know, there's a lot of good things about it. I got to look for them. I got to figure it out, but I'm learning some shit. So I got to really figure out what it is that I'm doing here and go at it and try and see. And it is almost like, say, if you think of it as get levels in the game. So say, for instance, you are living in poverty and you grew up in poverty and you make the best of it. Your family taught you how to make the best of it. You're out there, yeah, you know, just like, yeah, you don't need much. Be happy. Kids only need a box and a potato, and they're good to go. They can have fun all day long. When they, you know, you get these other kids, it's like, oh, well, my PS5's not good enough. Give me whatever's next, and I need, you know, they need more, 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 and we just indulge, 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 and so. You know, there's got to be a bottom out. So say you grow up in poverty and you don't need much, and, you know, you go and you're around all these other kids and they just have, and it's no gratitude or anything. And so you can start noticing like, fuck, man, you've got certain skills that these people are all lacking. Some area out there in the world needs what you have. You just haven't seen it yet. So you don't feed into what these other people's attitude is. You don't feed into this like, oh, well, if I've got to have this or I'm not going to be good enough. I got to have what they have. I mean, notice, is it making anybody happier? So then when you go out and you just keep going towards a joy and you keep going towards being happy instead of feeding into the indulgent game and the beating yourself down or whatever, then that energy will continue to take you. And so that, like, once you learn those lessons, you level out of that part and you go into the next part where the things that you learned, you get to use them. And so then you get to see like the benefits. And so then you get to go through that. And then I don't know what all the different levels are, but it's not like, it's when you don't feed into the hate or something. When you use the energy and you start seeing the positives, you start feeding that positive energy, things just keep going better, 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 better. It's this other energy. To me, it's the two timelines. It's the dark to or the light. You want to find balance. You gotta be as friendly to your darkness as you are to your lightness. You can't just think, oh, you're just so good. You're so much better. And it's so weird is how often I find myself leaning on that hip. And it's so weird. And I'm glad to be able to have this physical representation that shows me of this part of myself, of this leaning into this hip, of like this comfort or safety of like, remembering I'm a good person. It's like my soul remembering I'm a good person and leaning on that aspect of myself. But the more that I can stop leaning on, that and pull it in to merge, it's like kind of like, think of it as like when you hear about these people with the multi-personality disorder thing, the dissociative personality disorder. So you have all these aspects of self that fracture out. And so that is kind of like your soul. All these aspects of itself is fractured out to play all these different roles. So in this period of time of like ascension, it is kind of like you are doing this merging of all these sides of yourself to develop, to find who you really are in all of these different sides of yourself. And as you're putting them together, there's sides of yourself. It's like, well, God, I'm not that mean. I don't want to be like that. And so that you can change it. That's where you can find balance. And that is a part of the healing, is to be able to find yourself and develop yourself. It's not just like a part of this was going to be, people are begin witnessing themselves. Once they witness themselves, then there'll be another stage of, because it'll be like, it's where they're going to get really sad and angry and stuff, but it's going to be like different things. So there will be these stages, but you just got to keep working through the stages. Everything is temporary. Everything is stages of development. And as you work through that, you get to the stage of acceptance and being able to go in and start being like, yeah, well, I'm a little bit bad. I'm a little bit good. Let's put it together, and make it into who I am. And so it is like that, that whatever it's called, when they do that merging of those personalities and to create one singular being. And so it's kind of like you're doing that right now. And, but it's in all different stages for people. And, yeah, that was something I was seeing this morning about, because there had to be people at all different stages, and the different stages gives us different views and different perspectives, like being able to see like what these women are doing and stuff. So not only now have they, they're offending all these women, because now these girls are crying because it's like, so you're doing it because you're trying to look ugly to men. And we're trying to build ourselves up so that we feel like we're still pretty. And now you guys are just slapping us in the face. And that's very, very thoughtless for women to do that to other women. Like, I'm not sure why it was all of a sudden. I just know that the one that I had seen was the first one I had seen was the shaving her head thing. And it was this most awkward, weird thing where she's just so she doesn't need to try and look pretty anymore. She doesn't need to be skinny anymore. She doesn't need to anything. And it was just like, what do you do for yourself? And that to me is like, yeah, these women need to go in, and probably this ceremonial thing of taking all their hair off, it hopefully will start releasing them from some of their pain and trauma. But you got to process through it. You can't, nothing magically goes away. You've got to like relive it, re-experience it, and let it go. And these, but they're, I did see one who had really long hair, and she did save it as a braid. I don't know if she sent it in for other women or whatever, but there was a lot of people saying, you're just discarding that hair. It's like, there's all these women desperate to have hair, and you guys are just throwing it down. There's women desperate to have babies, and you guys are just fighting for the right to kill yours. And so it's just a lot of weird, like, energy. It's the two kind of, it's like two forces, and they are bringing like soldiers. Yeah, it is. It's like this really dark side of the feminine energy coming up. Like, it's so much on the surface and stuff, but they're coming in like a battle, and coming in with such a anger and a hatred. And I think, it has to do with the repression of the feminine energy for so long. And always, if you are holding something down, it's going to come up. And when it comes up, it's going to shoot out. Like, not everything is the exact same. Everything is going to go different. So, like, to me, this feels like a release. Like, oh, God, fuck, this feels so good. Like, oh my God, to now finally see, like, things are really gonna start turning in our favor. And Donald now, he's on every day, all the stuff he's gonna do. I just saw he's on the school, really trying to explain everything very thoroughly about the schooling thing. He's going in and really trying to explain the things that they're doing, and what their plans are. Is like really giving people, like, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do it, this is when it's going to get done, and all that stuff, and being very thorough. And on so censorship, he said that is going to change too. So look, he's like, the moment that he is inaugurated, immediately he's signing executive orders. He said the first one is going to have to do with censorship, and there's going to be repercussions for all of this stuff. So all these people who have been messing with our accounts and stuff. So there should be a big shift in the accounts in information in January and February and stuff, where the accounts that have been repressed and stuff, like mine, that they will start being able to go. And so that's exciting right there. It's like, finally, because it's like to me, it's not like they moved the wall away. It's like that it's like that it gets closer. It's like the wall keeps getting closer and closer, and like this pressure, like I want this wall to go. And so now I feel like that the things are, that's why I said it, to me, it feels like this, like things are letting loose. It feels like, it's like taking it, being able to breathe again or something. But it's very opposite for a lot of other people. Like, it feels like they're strangling. It feels like they're dying. Like, they feel like the best alternative to being here is to just do themselves in. It's like, that, it's that bad for you? What is so bad? Like, and it's so crazy to just see how programming and indoctrination and mind control works. Because this is all this reaction and stuff. It's all built on this false reality. It's all built on something that's not real. And to them, it's real though. And so it's very weird to watch, and it gives, and then, that gives us more and more perspective and stuff. But at this point now, they've offended all these women. They've made fools out of themselves. People are making fun of them. People are making videos of all losing their minds. Some of these women have shaved off, I bet you, 10 years of hair growth. I bet it took them so long to grow that hair. And they're just like, fuck it. And it's just like, wherever their soul is, wherever their darkness is. But again, they're coming here as to purge this out as the feminine energy. So, more than saying like, oh, stupid ass bitches or something like that, because there's so much of that, is to be more of like thankful. Thankful it's not me. I'm not having to do this. These are the martyrs of the female energy purging out the last bit of darkness. But apparently there's some now movement they're doing where they're beginning to make like threats. Like they're going to start attacking men or something. It's so wacky. Why are they turning all this on men? It's like, how did this turn into this? It's like, why can't they not see their wounds and their daddy issues, and their rejection issues and stuff, and all this stuff that's really going on? And to keep on thinking like they need to go hurt men, like, because when you get down to it, it's because the men hurt them. And it's not this man or that man, it's just this overall energy of some man in their life hurt them, so they want to lash out to the rest of the world, which that is like a fucking serial killer, dude. It's like, get a grip on your fucking shit. And the so I don't know. I mean, we could end up having some in some of these cities where we hear about men being attacked by gangs of bald women. Like, will not surprise me one bit at all. And they would do it in gangs because they're definitely not going to take on man. And they would do it, I would think, well, I mean, if they got really crazy enough, I guess it could be like 10 or 20 women going after 2 or 3 guys. But I think it would be 5 or 6 women going after one, and then that may build. We'll see, because the energy is going to be, there's going to be a swift change. And see, it's like when you think about the energy and the swift change, and you think about these people who are, again, gratitude to them, thank you, that they are pulling this dark energy, and they're going so far with it, and the energy changes. It's gonna fucking, it's like they're gonna be whipped around. It's like the energy is gonna whip them, and it's gonna shake their worlds up. Like, their worlds are going to get shook, like as if this election didn't shake it up enough. But again, you got to look at the bigger picture in the spiritual world. This is a important time in the feminine energy because we're going into this time of power for the women. And it's not like we're going to, like the battle cry, we got to defeat the men or something like that. No, it's we start acting a certain way, because I've already seen so many men talking about the women who, it's like, fuck, man. The women who are logical, the women who like to stay home, the women who really enjoy cooking, like all these different things. And like, fuck, it's starting to really give two scenarios, and they are having mad respect for this. This one is like, they're very like, fuck, this is fucking cool. And it's like, they want to step it up. They want to be the provider, so that's the energy when it goes into this direction. But see, we've got to have this push. The darkness is going to be biting us in the ass, because the women have been repressed for such a long time. But we here aren't in the same repression as what they are trying to create, because they've also offended all these women in other countries who are really being oppressed, and they are making it like their battle cry over here. And like the women in Iran are sitting there like, oh, so where were you head shaving when we're over here shaving ours because they're burning us alive? Where were you guys then? And and don't forget, these people all, went and got those scars because they interjected themselves in that. It's like they're making a hit and miss over, what they stand for. But that's why their anger and their misdirection has to fall apart. They have to start seeing the holes in their own movement. And so there's going to be more and more that's going to keep showing them. But again, that's that energy that is directing us. It's like this darkness pushes these women to be more like, no, I'm not like that. I'm like this. And so it creates this separation. But in this separation, the masculine energy develops this respect for this energy, because that feeds their soul. Because a man, their energy is more of like, this is a good one, is because I just saw this thing on the snow leopards thing, and it was the female snow leopards. There's a pair that are in captivity because they have it all on film. But so the female became pregnant, And the female was very uncomfortable. She was uncomfortable the whole time. And the male was so attentive to her and so compassionate to her and so caring to her through the whole thing. And that when she would wake him up at night because she couldn't sleep, he would do everything. He would pet her and lick her. And even at night when they would go to bed, when it would be time they would go to sleep, they would spend all this time hugging and long, deep kisses and stuff. It's just like the cutest, most sweetest, loving thing. And then people trying to say animals don't have, like, what are you talking about? And so then, but it shows all this caring and compassion and stuff. That's the male energy. And the female, like, everything has just been out of balance for a long time in our reality. And now we're going into this time of balance. So that energy is pulling apart from this other energy. And it's like these women are taking that darkness and it's like pulling it away from us. Oh, man. It just gave me a wave, like, that is so fucking cool. Seriously. That is. God, that makes me emotional. I didn't even see it like that until then. It is. It's like pulling. Oh, man, hold on. That is emotional as fuck. Where'd my tissue go? Oh, hold on. Yeah, because it is. It's like these women are taking this dark energy and pulling it off the rest of us and taking it away, where the rest of us get to pull free out of that and get to experience this other. That is like these martyrs. That's why we never, we really got to get out of this judgment stuff, being so hateful towards each other when we think that people are doing weird shit. Because we just don't see we don't see the big picture. We always have limited view of things. So yeah, that's really cool. So them pulling that free. And also in the man's, like, I don't know it as well, but there has been so much of the male movement towards more compassion and listening to women and understanding the plight of the female, and the necessity of needing a protector in the world and stuff, and that's what it's more like, is the creator and the protector. The creator, the woman, the womb, the birthing, and then the protector, the one that protects her, like the womb protects the baby. The male energy protects the womb, the woman. And so that is more of the natural thing, but we've been trying to develop in an unnatural world, and we've been thrown out of sync, and they've done everything they can to keep us out of our natural rhythms of the planet, the food, everything. So, but our natural thing is more like that snow leopard thing. The male is way more of the, I'm here for you, I'm here today. But over different relationships, over our toxicity, women became more damaged and more angry. Nobody's listening to them. And men became more, never feeling appreciated. I can never do enough. I'm not good enough. So these two distinct energies went, and then when people kept trying to be in relationships, these two things kept trying to play out, and it would become so frustrating. And so it just become frustrating, because we all need to individually heal these things and then go and start trying to have relationships, so we're not burdening the other person with our stuff. And so then we can have, more like what the snow leopard has. It's just like we're just there for each other. We're not trying to make the other person be there for us. We're just there for each other because we're good. We're good. No, I don't need you to, I'm good. And when we're not good, to be there for each other, to, listen, to rub somebody's back, to, cry with them, whatever it is. And so that is where that energy is separating. So we have this part of our society, where we have men which are going up and cock blocking. No, not cock blocking. Whatever it is when you just go up and punch somebody without them looking. Can't think what it's called. So they are going around doing stuff like that, being really horrible to women. There's even, what was this one? Because there's another weird text thing going around besides the cotton fields and the deportation. It seems like there's one that is like, oh, yeah. There's these ones that are going out to all these women, your body, my choice. I'm going to get you later and shit like that. All this threatening stuff. And these people all believe like, see, they really, they think that they own my body and all this stuff. It's like, no, this is a group of people that are terrorizing you guys because they've got you trapped in this fear bubble. And these people can't break free from it, but it needs to play out. So as I say, like, it's just so many different levels. But so in the male energy, it has that distinct thing of like, we're not here to take care of you, you're all bitches, we hate you. And then the other one of like, oh man, these girls are really like, I'm really seeing some intelligence, man. These women are really, so they're seeing this other side to women, that they're growing respect, like it's actually developing. It's not like programmed where the movies show you which direction to lean. Women are stupid, women are crazy, women are this, women are that, men are this, men are that, Republicans are this, Democrats that, like all of that stuff. No, it's people witnessing the things going on are so extreme in the world, and it's bringing these sides out where we make a stance, and then people are being like, fuck, I respect that, man, I respect you. Like, so it's a development that occurs that moves us in this other direction, but we still go into this more of a feminine dominant existence. And it doesn't mean that we're just going to have all female leaders. It's that also the males will be more in balance with their feminine energy. It won't be like, oh God, you little wuss, what are you crying about, you little bitch? It would be more of like, oh, you can feel your emotions. That's good. Like, you've got to be able to feel your emotions. You got to be able to find them and feel them to process them. And when you have compassion and empathy for other people, yeah, you don't want to go out fighting. Because you got to take notice as we're going into this age of Aquarius, this is a bunch of old white men signing on these peace treaties. It's not all these women. The women are shaving their heads and offending just about everybody on the planet. But it's old white men, the ones that, we say are the worst thing in the whole wide world, are the ones that are signing us on peace treaties and gathering the gold. So, there's going to be a lot of shifting our views on things. A lot of like, fuck, but it is also, there's, when you think about the micro and the macro, there's been a loss of respect for the grandpas and the grandmas in the world. And so it is, there's going to be a new thing of looking at, not of like, yo, you old fogey, you're just old, you don't know the times and stuff like that. There's going to be that switch to realizing like, oh, you've got years of experience, you've got knowledge, you've got things you can tell me, like what happened, what if I do this, what's the chances that this will happen, like a lot of times people need, it's been something throughout time in history, that younger people go to the older people to ask for advice, to ask for wisdom, because through experience you gain wisdom. So, and they've cut all those generations off from the wisdom because they created the Great Divide. Yeah, it's crazy how the earth is actually dividing, but in the micro macro, look at the division of the people that's created. So yeah, they create this great divide, and it keeps us from the truth. And so all of these things have to be put down. But see, that's where the kids they're going to be humbled because they fed into the divide. Anybody who fed into these things, you will be humbled at some point. And, and being humbled isn't a bad thing. It's just facing your own ignorance, facing your own stupidity, being able to be like, yeah, well, and to me, it's always like, well, why do you put so much pressure on yourself to think you're supposed to know everything? Why can't you just be like, well, I don't know everything, yeah? And also, one thing that is really important that I've learned through my life journey is that what you think today may not be what you think tomorrow. Anything can happen at any time to change your perspective, to change your view on things. And if you are stuck holding on to a perspective as things change around you, then that shows you're stuck. So don't just hold on to, well, no, this is what I think, and it's the only way I can think, and I can only think this way, and that's the only thing I see. You got to go with the movement. You got to go with the flow. Otherwise, you become a stagnation. And that is kind of like also what we see playing out, because these people, they can't go with the flow. They are trying to fight it in every way. And that's the thing too, is like the universe, nature, the creator, world, it has this ride that we're playing out. So then it's like you're judging the ride. It's like you signed on to it. The universe developed a pretty cool ride. So, taking the ride and going with the flow will take you where, you're meant to go. It will fulfill your soul. It will fulfill your duties. It will complete you. And going against it, and always in turmoil, always trying to fight it, and always trying to make things be the way you want them and stuff like that. I think that is why so much in that, the 3D spirituality, love and light thing that they developed was so much about trying to control it, because they know you can't control it. And that is going to create so much frustration and so much ego too, because there would be people who would be in that movement who would be a part of the destined, where things were supposed to go a certain way for them, and then they start saying, well, it's because I did it, and if you guys do what I say, then you can do it too. It's like, no, that's not how it works. There's a destiny. You signed on. You have a place you're going, and you're not doing shit. Your job through the ride is your ability to be present, to read the signs, to get what you can from it, to show yourself how you feel about things. And it's not like you have to be a good person all the time. Like you have to be perfect, because I think about this a lot, because I have times when I get frustrated. Walking the dogs can be so frustrating to me sometimes, so challenging. And I just look at those things as like it's challenging my patience, it's developing me. But when I get mad or whatever, and it's like, God damn it, and yank the chain, and it's like, come on, I feel like, oh my God, Kelly's just losing your goddamn mind. And you feel guilty, like, oh my God, she just can't handle it or whatever. Then it is, but really, if I try to repress those and try to just go around like, no, I'm perfect, everything's perfect, I'm perfect, everything's perfect, that is more weirder, because you're not. Things do bother you. Things do affect you. Things do frustrate you. And then when they do, it gives you an opportunity to see, like, and then, I'll go into it and be like, why is this frustrating me right now? What has got me, why do I feel this way? And a lot of times it's like, I'm tired, or I want to do something else. I don't have it in me. This is not what I want to do. But also, sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do. And it's not like I don't want to do it. I do want to do the things that they like to do. I do want to be a part of that. But sometimes it can be frustrating, and then you have to acknowledge that in yourself. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you have no control because you get angry sometimes. It's that would be an abnormal thing, to never show your emotions, to never get angry. Then it's like, why are you trying to be so perfect? Who are you trying to fool? Because you're only going to create like a storm inside of yourself, and then you're going to have to take everything that makes you feel something, makes you feel mad, you're going to have to keep stuffing it down and hiding it. And that is so many people, when they start stuffing it in and holding it, then they start eating more and stuff, because it starts stuffing in. So that's where they start creating this barrier, because they can't feel all this energy. It's too much. And so when you start hiding from yourself, you start stuffing in energy that you don't want to see, these parts of yourself. Then that is when a lot of times people will start eating. And that's why when you start healing emotionally and letting go of things, that's why weight just starts falling off, because it just changes the dynamic. And like, you will eat less because you don't need to hold it in. You don't need to stuff it down like, rah, get in there. And you don't need to hold it all that pain and suffering, these parts of yourself that it's you that's judging them. It's you who thinks the world can't handle you. It's you hiding yourself. And it's, it was pretty cool when you can just go out into the world and just start being you and showing you and not trying to think about, well, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? Oh, I better not talk about, I better not do that. I better not say that, and just being able to be free to just be like, this is who I am. This is what I think. This is what I think today. Well, I may think something tomorrow, and just, I don't know, spend so much time on judgment. And like I said, the universe doesn't have that. It doesn't look at you like you're a good person or a bad person. It looks at you like you're a ball of energy. And the more ability that you have to control your energy, the more developed you are. So that is why so much of when we see the people reacting and overreacting and stuff, it's like so immature. It's emotionally immature. It's like they don't have a handle on themselves. They don't have a grip. And then there's so much more to it too, because then it's like you see that they are on this false reality. They're under this mind control. They aren't thinking for themselves. They're not going and looking into things. But I have seen some people. I have seen some people where this is really, there were liberals and progressives, and all this is waking them up. Just like the same things that did with me with Bernie and stuff like that. Like they're starting to be like, yeah, but man, and then when they see the people's reaction, they start being like, yeah, no, I'm not like that. Like what? So all these different all these different, oh, okay, yeah, like when the mirrors turn, like when I said the mirrors all turn in. So as the mirrors turn in and you see all these things, that is where you're like, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. That is the significance. That is the benefit of all these mirrors turning in, because it gives so much more of a view. That's why it does seem like we're hearing all these things. It's just like we're all sitting there just setting our moral compass. And it's so crazy because you can be listening to one person's story and be like, I'm totally, yeah, totally. And then the next day you hear somebody else is like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, like, okay, let's shift a little this way, and a little this way, a little this way. And that's why it's just this like tweaking yourself. That's why it's very indulgent to go hard in on a cause at this point. At this point, you want to be going hard in on yourself, not in on like, I'm going to jump this movement. These movements are like the energy shooting out. It's like this is the energy of it leaving our existence. It's the separation, like I said, of this feminine energy. And how it's going to play out, I don't know. It's going to, they can take it wherever. I would think it definitely is going to, it's not going to continue being a part of certain people's reality, because certain people's realities will develop into the age of Aquarius, where all of these things are developing in these people that will go into there. This would shoot right past it. It wouldn't be in alignment, because that's why it's shooting out away from it. It's not in alignment with this energy. So where this energy goes, it's kind of like anything with energy. So you think like you have a cannon and you're sitting out there in this big field, and you put this energy, all these this ball, and you put it in the cannon and you shoot it out, and it takes off. Then you have all of it, the movement, but then at some point it goes down. And so I would think it would follow that natural order, and it would go down. And as it's going down, it would probably be a lot of jumping ship, a lot of people realizing, and the universe is going to put things in order in their lives. Things will happen in their lives to give them more perspective on things. Things will happen in their experiences that will get them to look at things different and see things and stuff, to begin to see themselves. And so that will, a lot of them will probably go through healing and start changing. Some will probably leave the game, just like how there's been so many leaving anyways. A lot of them will leave and just I will probably go into the heavens and be cheered like, you guys did so good. Because they are doing good. Like, when you think about what they're doing good. So some of them will just leave and go back home. I don't think I think we'll just do that. I don't think it would go. But the other thing with the reality, like what I was saying, this reality of this, like you think about the darkness of the reality, the archon, whatever feeds into this reality, and as the light shifts, so as the light dims on this reality and the light brightens over this reality, and this one fossilizes and deteriorates, it goes in on itself. So it's not like that energy ceased to exist, but it doesn't have anything to feed off of. So it kind of petrifies, it kind of feeds in, and so it becomes like a little smaller, darker thing. But it's trippy. Yeah, that's trippy. Because it's like the energies, oh man, okay, so it's like trying to explain that, I don't know. It's like that. So seeing the energies of this reality darken and go in on itself, and then go in smaller and smaller as this one gets bigger, and this one goes smaller and smaller, and there's less of the energy, because the energies purge out that can save themselves, save yourself. And like, that's what we're all doing, letting go. What am I don't want to be a part of that. And then so the energy jumps ship, which leaves less of this. And this is like these parasites. It's almost like a tumor being taken out and thrown away. And then, but the tumor still has all of the bacteria in it, say. And so all that energy is in there still. It's almost like an echo chamber of itself. It's almost like, it's kind of creepy. It's almost like binding that energy into itself, but it's still in there talking to itself. Ew, that's so creepy. But that is kind of like when you think of like the mask, that pops into my mind, because the mask was supposed to be this mask of this energy that was down in the water a million years ago, billion, and then you took it and you gave it life back, and then life comes back to it. So I bet you that there is a lot of played out old realities that just go and fizzle out and become petrified and stuff. I think that is a part of like, as this reality begins to take form, and we start noticing how many like mountain ranges look like a giant laying down, and this island looks like a person laying there. And, oh, there's so much of that. And it is like that reality just suddenly petrified or something. But it's like us taking notice brings it back to life. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because like I kind of see like multiple things happening. Like some things being able to, because we paid attention, it like comes into our reality, it gives a life. But other things is like the old version is like a legacy, like a petrified giant, and we all have the awareness of it or something, and it becomes like, you know, like the statues or something, like, oh yeah, the giants and stuff, you know, like a respect, so it gives it its life back, but it doesn't come back to life, if you get what I'm saying. But there's going to be just so many things playing out, so many things, because you know, everything is all these different realities and realms, and everything is kind of merging in this energy. But it's this energy. This energy is the energy that goes into this merging. This other energy is the separation of energy. It's the energy, like, thank you again to these women who are taking this energy and taking it away from us and pulling it free from the rest of us, so that we can pull out of the darkness, and we can pull into ourselves, and we can say, we're not that. We don't do that. But I mean, when we're honest with ourselves, any of us can be pushed into anything. That's what a soul eventually finds out in its journey, is that it can become anything. And it has to be, it's like hyper vigilant over being who and what it is and having its awareness, because it can be pushed and changed and developed into a lot of things that it's not. So anyways, those are just all. How long have I been talking? An hour and 24 minutes. So let me think if there was anything else. I didn't really go on. When I have people around, I don't really go on there much. I don't really know. I think it seems like when I've gone on and looked at any of the things, and the people who send me videos, they haven't been sending me a bunch too, so I keep thinking, well, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on. It just keeps being more disclosure, more arrests. This fucking Yahoo Ferguson now that they put into oh, for months we've been preparing for this. We've got all these things in place to go against everything that Donald says. It's like, dude, I'm jumping ship, dude. You can be out here on this little boat by yourself. No fucking way I'm gonna stay in some place that's gonna be isolating itself from all of the stuff that he's gonna do. Oh, one of the things too I saw him saying is that they are gonna immediately start, well, they start saying with the deportation, but the deportation is going to be more of the criminals and stuff. I know all these people are freaking out, but they're going to all get opportunities. Like if they're a real person, they're going to get opportunities to whatever, do the right things and stuff. But there's going to be such a shift over this money thing and stuff, and citizenship and dual citizen. Like we're not going to have these same restrictions. So a lot of this stuff has got to fall apart. So I don't know how it's all going to go down, but it's not as scary as what these people all think. But so many people have lost their homes and stuff, and he's also this anti-homeless, and he's going to clean the streets up. And so they take those little sound bites. He's going to clean the streets. He's going after the homeless and stuff like that. But when you go listen to the whole thing, he's going to build like little tent cities or something. He's going to build some kind of housing, temporary housing, to get everybody into some kind of temporary housing while we start developing into more communities and stuff. So it's just going to be a step to get people off the roads, off the streets, because it's not safe. Just like in Seattle, they just went and just stabbed a whole bunch of homeless people. Somebody's just out killing all these homeless people. So yeah, it's not safe, and there's a lot of kids and women and stuff that are out there. So, and then though the people who are in fear of him, who have another awareness, because it's all these steps of awareness, but it's steps where you get stuck. A lot of them get stuck in the camps and stuff. When it's coming from him, he's not developing this into the camps. At the same time with this stuff, the people from the F, with the E and then an Ma, then those people are also stepping down, getting arrested, like, because those things are falling apart. That's not what he's doing. He's trying to get people into safe. His whole motivation is to get us into independence and to also get us to be a part of not the machine, like mindless machine, but it is also the machine that has to develop to keep going to run the communities. And so, we've got to have certain things to keep communities going. So it's getting us all to step into positions. That's why the corporations are going to go down, and then people are going to step into positions of business. And I've already seen where people are like, man, I wanted to start a business so long. They won't give you loans. They won't do this. They won't do that. No, because the corporation has been repressing and oppressing people, keeping people back, but that's going away. The corporations are going down, and then it's going to be everything that people need for the things, their desires for these things to start developing. So it's going to go more into this other way, this other thing. And so it's like knowing that you have an important role in your community, but it's up to you to put that energy out there. It's up to you. It's not because someone's going to give you a reward or a check or something. It's because you know what is right and what is wrong, and we need communities to be going. Like I had said before, when money crashes and stuff, if they crash it in a certain way, and there's people who won't won't get paychecks, they won't go and do certain jobs. They're not going to go to a place and do something, no matter if it's needed in the community, if they're not getting paid. And the ones that I was the most concerned about, that I still would say would be concerned about, is like old folks' homes and stuff. So places where people are very dependent on someone coming and taking care of them. And then when those people aren't getting a paycheck, and then just leave those people there. It can be also humane society, places where they keep animals and stuff. So, I mean, there could be somebody who would go to one of those and just let the animals free. That would be so frustrated. Um, so, but I don't know. I think that there would definitely be some old folks' homes where there would be some old folks in there that would be left and nobody taking care of them. I would think if shit starts going down like that, that would be the places in your communities to go check and see if people need help. So, but there will be so much chaos and so much looting and so much anger and violence if it plays out in this certain way. So we just got to see how things are going to continue to play out. And just, because they're going to play out, because we are going off of the dollar and onto the gold standard. And that fits everything in with the golden age, the age of Aquarius, abundance, freedom, this whole new set of experiences for the souls. So, that's happening. It's in the process. It's happening all around us, and that's the shift. And we're going into the shift, and everything is going to keep falling apart in this other world, and everything is going to continue to separate as it's develops into this other energy. And the energy, when you're trying to figure it out, it's all about this love and acceptance, and that's why his movement is so much about that. And that's what's so weird with these people that are so stuck in the dark, that they don't see that, or I think it repels them. Like, they think, everybody's joining in on hate. They think that we're all joining forces on being trying to control the gay people or something. Like, they're just lost in the conversation because they don't hear it, because they're not supposed to, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing this, and we need them to do this. So they take this energy out and show it. So it has to play out the way it plays out. And these people came in to play these roles, just like we all came in to play roles. And so so we're in the time of the split, like the energies are splitting apart. And definitely he is leading us into this other thing of freedom and independence. And it's kind of like his energy is kind of like, that you're fired. It's like, do better, step it up. He has that kind of like sensible grandpa kind of thing, energy to get people to, work harder, do more, it's you. What do you want to do? How you want to do it? But then also seeing people's hardships and wanting to, well, here, we can do this, we can help with that, we can do this. So it's so much of like trying to give people a step up, but he's not going to do like, here, I'm going to give you the next step and the next step and the next step. It's like, we're going to give step ups, but then you're going to have to kick it in, because it's going to be a big, huge part of everybody playing their part. It's not going to be an infrastructure. We are going to be the pillars of our community. We're going to be what creates the communities. So we all have to be able to step up and play roles in communities. So it's not going to be just like where he's going to be handing out, and here, everybody go into these camps, and then we're going to just, there's going to be so much stuff about exposing about, this lab rat life we've been living. So yeah, he's going to be doing the opposite of what the people that live in fear think about that. It's going to be way more about, let's clean up the streets, let's just start cleaning stuff up. But there's going to be, because it's not going to be this thing like, well, okay, well, let's just go to North Carolina. Like, there's going to be things that are going to be happening that it's going to be like, well, we're not cleaning that place up. We're not cleaning that place up. So there will be, there's just going to be a lot of shifting and stuff. And I saw this movie, what was it? I think it's a new, I'm trying to think what movie that was. If it was an old movie or a new movie. It was something, because it was weird why they showed it. Oh, okay, yeah, it was an older movie. And it was a movie where there was a nuke thing happened, and that hit into, it seems like there was something with Alaska. So it hit into this, I don't know, maybe there was a bunch of them, because the story centers around this submarine. And the submarine is down in the thing, and so it's having a problem coming up. And then the nuke stuff doesn't get all of the places and all the people at once. So the people who get taken out first, they're gone quick. But then there's a lot of people who are like, well, it's coming, and we know what's coming. And so they're just trying to like enjoy life. And a lot of them want to mend relationships and, be with certain people and, to die and stuff. And, but this one part where they get to San Francisco and they show that, then all the buildings are melted and tipped. But it was Golden Gate Bridge was just jacked. And I just thought they just put that in so many movies. And there's so much about that. I keep feeling like it's definitely is, just like the same with the towers. Like I feel like, yeah, I think, and I think when it goes, it is going to be dramatic. I feel like it's not going to be, and no matter what, there's always people on it. There's not a time when there's not people on it. I was like, fuck. God, that was like a hit. Hold on. Man, that hurts. Hold on. So anyways, I feel like, that's coming, but when it comes, it's going to be horrible and dramatic and horrible looking to all of us. I'm going to say this. Hold on. It's going to be horrible and dramatic looking to all of us. This is something I think they don't want me to say. Hold on. So I gotta remember, because the things that look horrible and dramatic to us, and we think like, but it's not like how we think it is. And I just had this conversation with my son-in-law yesterday, and he was talking about somebody he heard talking about their NDE, and they said that as soon as the thing occurred that took him out, I don't remember what it was. It might have been a car wreck. But they said as soon as the thing happened, he was out. They're out and they watch. And then immediately they always go, they'll go to the people who are going to be troubled. Like, a lot of times they'll follow along with their body. They'll watch them trying to bring them back. And they end up coming back when it's an NDE. But this is like what you got to think of. Like, some of the people don't come back, but this is what they do. And you can go read these books. It's a book, a story after story after story. It's the same. So they'll jump out of their body when the trauma of dying starts, whatever it is. They're out, and they'll watch. And so they're not traumatized, but they experience it, like, they watch it. And then they, it depends, like, 'cause sometimes if they go to the hospital, they'll follow their body in the hospital. They'll start seeing things, seeing people. They'll see people come in to see them, then they'll follow them home. Or they can be sometimes, like, it could be a guy on his way home from work, and all of a sudden he's standing next to his car and he's watching all this stuff happen. And then it's like, oh shit, I'm dead. And then it's immediately, oh my God, my wife. And so immediately they're in their house seeing their wife. It's like immediate, like it's where you, like here we have a slowness, but immediately what you focus on when you are in your soul form, immediately you're focused, that's where you are. It's immediate. So this is like we have everything is slower. And even when you focus on something, it's like it's got to come towards you. And even when you're trying to like develop your conscious abilities, and you got to keep focusing. It's like pulling in. But when you are in your soul form, there's none of that. Like you have to do it like like you're in a submarine pulling your telescope up. But when you're in your soul form, it's just immediate. You think of it, boom, you're there. Boom, you're there. So, anyways, that's just the way it is, from what I understand. So, things are going to keep playing out. Who knows? Today's Sunday, so, Monday, I mean, it always is every weekend. There's that thing of like, so Friday, this could be the Friday where the money crashes, and Monday could be the day when everything changes. But we just don't know until the week starts. But when it doesn't do that, there's just other plans. There's other things being exposed. Everything has the exact moment it's supposed to happen. Everything is going to go exactly the way it's supposed to go. Every domino is going to hit the domino it's supposed to hit the next one. And this pattern and this development of this it's like a giant snowflake or something created of this pattern playing out of all this. And then we're going to start a new one. We're going to start a new pattern that's going to play out. And so just while you're going through all this stuff, just have your awareness of the things that hold you in the 3D and how they hold you. And to me, it seems like so much of the trappings are this entanglement with other people. It's just an unhealthy entanglement. It's like when we want someone else to fix things for us, or we want to fix it for them because we think we know what's best. So but when we start being each of us independent and trusting one another and being like, no, you've got it, we'll fix it. You're good, you can do it. And then listening to people's stories and not feeling like we need to fix it. And then people being able to tell their stories and not feeling like that they need to pretend like they're not who they are, pretend like they're different, pretend like they never get mad, pretend like they're never sad, pretend like they're whatever, because, we're all things. We're all things. And, I mean, for years and years when I was younger, I was constantly called neurotic. There was a lot of negative things I was called. But no matter what any of the things are, you can always pull yourself into balance. So even if I was neurotic and people thought I was always looking at the bad side of things, or always looking at, well, it's going to fall apart, it was like, well, a lot of them didn't know, like, I could see shit. I was like, I'm not just neurotic. You can tell me something and I can look at it and I can see it and be like, I don't think that's good. No, I don't think that's a good idea. And there was so much like shit that would be going on. And it would always be, I was so what if. I drove my mom crazy, but what if? It's like, because I could see more things that people weren't looking at, they weren't thinking about. So we need the what if people in the world too. We need all people in the world. We need everybody. Everybody has roles. Everybody makes up the world to what it is. And so don't feel shamed or burdened by weird little parts of your personality. It's like the world needs it. The world needs it, especially if not everybody else has it. The world needs it. So bring it and carry it with pride. Don't feel shame because you're different. Be happy. And then probably, you're from some star system way out that you're bringing some great thing to everybody else. So don't feel bad about yourself. It's just important. That's a big part of this growth, is learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So work on that, and I'll talk to you later.